Hello, my name's Taylor and I'm going to be showing you two makeup looks today. We're going to be going from this daytime glowy summer look to a bit more of a grungy glam makeup look. So to start off, I'm using a hydrating glowy primer. This helps my makeup stay on longer during the day, but also gives my skin a bit of a hydration before putting on makeup products. I'm blending this out with a brush just because I find it to be a lot quicker and also blends across my face a lot more evenly. From primer, I go to foundation. I'm using the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define foundation, and I'm placing this in areas that I think I need the most coverage, and also down my neck to blend it all in together. I'm using a buffer brush to blend this out. This just gives me a little bit more coverage, but also blends out the foundation a lot more evenly and a lot quicker. I'm using more of a buffing motion, more of a tapping motion instead of blending or swiping. This just gives me a little bit more coverage as well. Once I've finished with blending in my foundation, I then move on to concealer. The concealer I'm using today is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. I place this under my eyes to cover my dark circles, down the centre of my face to brighten up, and then also on my forehead to give me a little bit more coverage between the brows. I also place it around my nose just to get rid of redness that I get there. I'm blending this in with the same brush that I used for my foundation. This just helps the foundation and concealer blend in a lot more seamlessly, as the brush still has a little bit of foundation left over. I also blend this onto my eyelids. This kind of acts as a primer for my eyeshadow. So once I've blended in all of my concealer, I then move on to powder. I'm using a loose powder today. This is the Makeup Revolution loose powder in light yellow. I'm placing this mainly where I've placed my concealer, so under my eyes, on my nose, my chin and on my forehead. I then use the leftover powder and buff that across my entire face. This just helps to set my makeup in place, but also gives me a little bit more of a mattified finish. And I also blend it down my neck just to give a bit more of a seamless blend. I then use a makeup setting spray or fixing spray just to help the powder not sit on top of the foundation. This helps to blend all the products in together and also makes the foundation and concealer last a lot longer. I then move in with highlighter. I'm using the Benefit Cookie highlighter. This helps me intensify the highlighter a lot more. I love a very glowy highlighter, so using this after the setting spray will definitely give you a bit more of an intense look. Obviously, if you don't want to look like the Tin Man like I am, you can definitely use a lot less. I'm using this on the high points of my face with a fluffy brush. I then go in with bronzer, so I'm placing this on the high points as well, so my cheekbones, temples, eye socket and also my forehead. This just helps to make my face look a little bit more lifted, but also adds a little bit of a bronze glow to the skin. And I'm buffing this in with an angled fluffy brush. I also use this under the neck, under the chin, on the neck, to give me the look of less chins, and it also just helps the face look a little bit more lifted as well. Just doing the exact same thing on the other side. Once you're done with bronzer, I then move on to blush. I use more of rosy tones in my blushes, but you can obviously use whatever colour you like. I'm placing the blush in between the highlighter and the bronzer, but still blending it in with the bronzer. This just adds a little bit more of a natural colour back to the skin, but also just blends everything in really nicely. I love blush. I also add a little bit at the end of my nose to make me look like I've been out in the sun, and I also place bronzer down the sides of my nose just to give me that sun-kissed look. And I also place it a little bit under my lip, under my bottom lip, to give it a little bit more of a poutier look. Then brows. Brows are my favourite. I'm using a brow spoolie just to brush them up and kind of detangle them essentially. I then go on to a brow mascara or brow gel. This is the Aldi version, but I just love these products because it makes it so quick and effortless, and it makes the eyebrows still look really natural but just a little bit more fluffy and a little bit more defined. I also use a pencil with my brow gel. The pencil I'm using is the Makeup Revolution Skinny Pencil. This just helps to create hair-like strokes, and it also helps me to fill in areas of the brow that I find that I'm missing hairs or it's a little bit more sparse. I don't use too much of this product. I like a bit of a messy brow, so I'm just running this through the brows really quickly and just flicking it out the front to make it look like brow hairs. The colour brow products I'm using are medium brown. I use products that match my brow hair or the root of my hair just to make it look really natural. And then just brush them up and blend the two products together. And then move on to eyes. So I'm using the bronzer that we used before and a fluffy brush. This is just to diffuse the shadow in the crease and give it a little bit more of a natural finish. I use back and forth motions and also circular motions. This is just diffusing the colour out a little bit more. I also place this under the eyes just to finish the look off. And then I also use, or like to use, a darker shade of brown, which just blends in with the other brown and gives it a little bit more definition to the eye. Still really blown out, quite messy, just a really effortless look. I then am using mascara. This is a volumizing mascara. Just gives me a good voluminous look and also gives them a little bit of thickness as well. You can use any mascara. This is just one of my favorites. I prefer using volumizing mascaras over lengthening. After mascara, I then move on to lips. So I'm using a lip liner before. So this is the MAC Cosmetics lip liner in Well. I tend to use a lip liner a little bit darker than the lipstick colour that I'm choosing. And I prefer to use a nude with a look like this. The reason I use a lip liner is just to define my lip shape and also make it look a little bit bigger. And then I'm going in with a Makeup Revolution matte lipstick, which is a little bit lighter than the lip colour, in the shade Syrup. And that is the day look finished. Quite glowy, quite natural, effortless. Then I'm going on to our nighttime look. So I'm using a corally red shade and just blending this into the outer corner, the crease and the inner corner of my eye. The look that we're going for is a spotlight eye or a halo eye. This just really helps to make the colour of your eyes pop and also just to gives you a really nice defined look. And then I'm moving on to my Makeup Revolution palette and using the two red shades. I'm using the burgundy shade a little bit more in the outer corner, just to kind of deepen the outer corner, the crease and the inner corner a little bit more, but just blending that into the other shades I've used. This is also really nice with the browns that we used earlier. Again, blending it into the inner corner as well. The best tip I have is just to keep blending. It's always best to just blend as much as possible, as this just blends the colours in together, but also diffuses the colours as well. I am then going in with the darker shade in the palette and using this to define the outer corner, the crease and the inner corner a little bit more. I always start off with a little bit of eyeshadow and blend it out. It's a lot easier to add than take away eyeshadow. As you can see, circular motions on the outer corner and then back and forth windshield wiper motions in the crease. And just going back in with the same brushes I've used, no extra product, just to blend all the colours in together. I'm also creating the outer edge to look a little bit more winged and cat eye, which helps to just give you a little bit more of an eye lift. I'm then adding the burgundy shade in the outer corner. This is just to give it a little bit more colour, because obviously once you blend out, you kind of diffuse the colours a little bit more. So I really want to add a lot of pigment to the outer corner and also the inner corner. I'm then using the lighter red and just adding that closer to the centre of the eye, and then also adding this colour to the inner corner of the eye, just to give it a bit more of a brighter finish. Then just running those colours under the eye to give it a little bit more of a defined look, but also just to kind of blend it all in together. I'm then using the same concealer I used on the face earlier on a flat brush, just to add to the centre of the eye, which will help our shimmer shade that we'll add on later really stand out and also stay on a lot longer. Doesn't matter if it gets messy. You're going to add shadow like I am now to the outer corners, just to blend it all in a little bit more. And I'm using the lighter red for this, just to keep that bright colour closer to the centre. I'm then using the gold shade from the Makeup Revolution palette and pressing this in with my finger, just because I find that it gives the best coverage of the shade. And then I'm just adding that on top of the concealer. I then use a flat shadow brush just to get the shadow closer to the edges and up towards the crease. I blend this in with the red shade just to make it a little bit more seamless. Then just adding a tiny little bit of mascara just to get rid of the powder that's landed on the lashes since the last look. I'm also using the lighter, the highlighter that I used on my face in the inner corners, just to brighten the inner corner up a little bit more. And then I add lashes. I'm not very good at filming how I put my lashes on, but I use quite natural lashes. I add my lash glue and leave it to get a little bit tacky or sticky on the lash band for about 30 seconds. I use tweezers to apply my eyelashes, but you can use your fingers. And I tend to place it in the center of my eye first, then put it down in the inner corner, and then follow it with the outer corner. Lashes are not the easiest thing to put on. I still have trouble with them, and I've been wearing them quite a lot. But it's also quite difficult to film it on camera. So I'm sorry that this isn't the best technique or the best way to see it. But once you've done your eyelashes, that is the eyeshadow look done. So that's the look with a nude lip. But then I'm gonna add a red lip just for fun. So this is a little bit more of like a pinky berry red lip, but I thought it really went well with the eyeshadow colors. And this is more of like a moussey texture liquid lipstick. It dries down matte, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable on the lips. And this just creates a really grungy, more glam look. A lot of people say you shouldn't add darker lip colours with dark eyes, but I say do whatever. And that's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see your looks soon. Bye!